So I've been looking online and I'm just going to make this video to clear up some things for anyone who's wanting to wire in a kill switch into their S13 so that then you kill the fuel supply. So you can go look up other videos on it. I recommend a video by Chris Fix. He does a video on it and it's pretty simple. What you're trying to do is find the signal wire to the fuel pump relay, and then if you interrupt the signal wire, it means that the fuel pump's not going to turn on. No fuel, car no go. So at the moment my S13 turns on, runs and drives, even though it looks a bit poopy. And that's great. Well, it's great for me, but it's also great for a criminal. Someone who wants to steal the car. So to solve that, we're going to interrupt the fuel supply. We're going to put a switch in a hidden location, and that means every time someone wants to come and try steal my car, they can try hotwire it as much as they want, but the car's not going to turn on. It's just one more thing to deter a theft from actually taking the car itself. Yes, they can take all of the pliers and fuses that I have in the glove box and all of that, but hopefully they won't take the car itself unless they're game enough to tow it away. All of this stuff that I'll be showing in this video applies to a Japanese model S13 Silvia with an S13. It works for DE and DET. The pinouts are the same on the ECU and the wiring's the same. This is right-hand drive because it's actually JDM. I don't know what it's like for any of the KA stuff in the 240s or any of that. I've heard it's similar, and you can pretty much follow the same principle. So if we come over here, in this car, this is the main fuse box, and I've taken it apart a bit so I can show you this stuff. If you look on the top, we've got all of our fuses and we've got our relays here. So we've got EGI and EGI pump. These are for your fuel pump. EGI pump is for your actual fuel pump. So that's what's going to be switched on when the car's running and always pumping fuel. EGI is a separate thing, which Nissan implemented because they're smart. And basically it means that when the car's not actually running and you just turn it on, it primes the fuel pump for like 15 seconds or whatever it is, and then it stops until the car's running. You'll hear that because when you go to start the car and you flick it to accessories, the fuel pump will go on, and then it'll eventually turn off and it'll be silent again before you actually flick over to the starter. So, if we look under here, we can see that's the EGI relay, and that's the EGI pump relay. So we want to interrupt this one. If we look at the bottom of this one, I've taken this apart to show you, you don't actually need to do this unless you plan to run the wiring from this part of the car. Let me get a bit of a light on here. So looking under it here, the two wires at the back are the power wires. They're the ones that are actually running to the pump. The two ones at the front are our signal wires. So we have a white and black with a purple stripe, and we also have this one, which is a black with a purple stripe and a little purple band around it. So what we could do if we wanted to is we could cut one of those, run two wires off of it, run it off to wherever you want and put a switch on it, and that'll interrupt the signal and the relay won't turn on. The other thing we can do with that, and with an ECU pinout, is we can go over to our ECU, which in my car and all the other JDM S13s is in the passenger footwell, unless it's aftermarket. And if we look at our ECU here, got all of our wires, and if we look here at the top, we count down to pin 104, so we've got 101, 102, 103, 104. You can read this on a ECU pinout. I'll briefly put one on the screen now for you to look at. So pin 104, we look at that. It's a black wire with the purple stripe, and that matches the one coming out of the fuel pump relay. So what we do is we follow that down, plenty of space, we cut it. And we strip a bit of it off, and then we'll attach to both sides some wire of a similar gauge. If anything, probably go a bigger gauge, probably don't go a smaller gauge because that's running on the risky side from what I know. But I am not an expert, so do what you want. If you know more than me, that is great. Please advise everyone else in the comments and help us all out. But what we'll do is we'll attach one side to there, the other side to there, and then we'll run this out somewhere where you want to hide it. I'm not going to show you my hiding spot because then it wouldn't be very stealthy. But you run that one out, you just put a switch on the end of it, and then when you park your car in a dodgy spot and you don't want anyone to steal it, flick the switch off and they can't start the car. Then when you come back, flick the switch back on, bingo bango bongo, you can drive off. I would say though, it's probably a good idea not to put the switch around your steering wheel, because if someone does try to hotwire your car, what they're going to do is they're going to attach these wires together. So one of these is a constant 12 volt, and then you attach it to another one, and they'll trigger all your accessories, and then usually one or two of them go to the starter motor relay. So they mess with that. And if they're already here, and you put your hidden switch somewhere around here, it's going to be pretty bloody easy to find it. I would also say the same for putting your switch around the center console area, or in a compartment, because it's very easy just to pop it down and have a look. So think carefully about where you put your switch. Anyway, I'm going to finish wiring my one up, and when I'm done, I will show you a demonstration video of it working. So there it all is completed. Got the cover back on. There's my two connections. I actually got little bullet connectors and then heat shrinked over the top, just so that in future if I ever need to take this out, I can just cut the heat shrink and disconnect it easily. We'll find out if that's a good idea or not. Then I've got the wires running up there and they disappear. I won't show you where the switch is, but what we will do is we'll reconnect the battery, and then come around here. Right, so I'm going to sit this right here on top of the fuel pump so you can hear it. And now I'm going to go turn it to accessories. The first time it will be on, and the second time I'll flick the switch and it will be off. And then I'll probably do an on one again. That's the car on with no fuel pump, so the switch works. That is how that works. Just to do a little recap for you, all you're trying to do is interrupt the signal wire to the EGI pump, which is your fuel pump. I hope that helped. If you have any questions or if I did anything wrong, let me know in the comments. And don't tell anyone where you put your switch, otherwise someone could read it online and then there's no point. Catch is on the flip.